Brothers and sisters in Christ, receive these words with open hearts, because what I am about to say is neither common nor light. What occurred in Medjugorje in recent days has deeply shaken even those who have lived with the supernatural for decades. Something never before witnessed happened before 3 different people. The Blessed Mother wept tears of blood. And what has been revealed about the upcoming January 25th has the power to shake your soul and make you reevaluate your entire spiritual journey. If you have reached this message, it was not by chance nor by suggestion of a platform. It was the invisible hand of divine providence that guided you here, because you still possess the capacity to hear with the spirit and see with the heart. What will be shared now does not stem from human opinions or personal conjectures. These are celestial confidences delivered directly to the visionaries of Medjugorje during an extraordinary manifestation that occurred in the early morning of January 8th, at exactly 3:33 a.m., a time laden with spiritual significance, known as the moment of mercy, the same hour in which Christ gave up his spirit, her life on the cross. And it was in that solemn moment that something never before seen manifested itself on that consecrated ground. Maria Pavlovich, one of the oldest and most experienced visionaries, was immersed in deep prayer when the Virgin Mary appeared, her face bearing a sorrow never before seen in over 40 years of encounters. She wore her usual blue mantle, a symbol of her tenderness and protection, but her eyes, once full of maternal sweetness, were now filled with an indescribable sadness. Then something shocking happened. Tears began to stream down her face, but they were not ordinary tears. They were tears of blood that stained her immaculate face. Faced with this vision, Maria fell to her knees, overcome by trembling and silence, unable to utter a word. It was at this moment that the Blessed Mother began to speak with gentleness and urgency at the same time, saying that humanity had reached a dangerous limit, that it was the prayers of the faithful that still sustained the world and prevented devastating events from unfolding on earth. Our Lady explained that the 25th of January marks the beginning of a time she called the Great Revelation of Souls, words that carry a profound and transformative weight. According to the Virgin herself, there has never been a period like this. Never have so many people been so far from God at the same time. Empty temples, wounded homes, divided families, young people who no longer know how to pray or recognize the value of faith. Even in lands where Catholicism has always been strong, the flame is dying out. Millions of baptized people live as if God did not exist, exchanging the Creator for false modern gods, for fleeting and empty pleasures, for a life without spiritual direction. But the Mother of Heaven did not come only to lament. She came to warn and also to protect, offering shelter to those who still wish to return to the Father's arms. During this apparition in Medjugorje, she revealed that on January 25th something extraordinary will occur in the spiritual world, something that will not be seen by most human eyes, but that will be intensely felt by those who are even slightly attentive to their own souls. It will be a moment when each person will perceive with absolute clarity the true condition of their lives before God, without masks, without excuses, without self-deception, will be as if an invisible mirror were placed before their conscience, showing not the body, but the true state of the soul. For many, this encounter will be painful because they will realize how far they have strayed from the path of truth. The visionary Mirjana, who also witnessed this manifestation, reported that Our Lady showed her a vision of the current world. People walking as if spiritually asleep, families no longer praying together, homes where the name of God is no longer pronounced, young people absorbed by screens, and a culture that glorifies sin and ridicules virtue. With a voice choked with pain, the Virgin asked how she could save her children if they no longer listened to her. It was then that the tears of blood became more intense. She explained that she cries blood because she contemplates the eternal destiny of countless souls being decided now, that this blood represents the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, a sacrifice that is being ignored and wasted by many. Each tear is a maternal cry asking for her children. Wake up before it's too late. And now listen carefully, because it has been revealed what will happen on January 25th and in the days that follow. According to the Blessed Mother, 3 spiritual waves will sweep the world. The first will be a sudden awakening, a profound restlessness that will touch even those who haven't thought about God for years, an inner calling impossible to ignore, a weight on the chest, an anguish that no remedy can cure. The first wave will bring relief because it will be the soul itself crying out for help. The second wave will be moral clarity. Good and evil will become evident as never before. Attitudes previously normalized will be seen in their true gravity. Dormant consciences will awaken, and many will feel a growing unease for living far from the divine will. It will be the Holy Spirit acting powerfully to rescue hearts. And the third wave will be the final decision. After this awakening and this lucidity, each person will have to consciously choose. Either truly return to God with a sincere conversion or harden their heart and follow the path of perdition. And my beloved children, I come to you as a mother, with a heart enveloped in light and compassion, to call you to firmness, vigilance, and true faith. In the face of this revelation, do not allow fear to dominate your souls, nor allow darkness to find a dwelling place in your hearts. The world may tremble, times may become difficult, events may confuse your minds, but none of this is greater than the strength that God has already placed within you. Do not let evil reach your inner being. Evil does not enter all at once. It infiltrates slowly, through thoughts, words, feelings, small choices, attitudes that seem simple but weaken the spirit. Therefore, I tell you, my children, strengthen your hearts in faith, strengthen your minds in truth, strengthen your souls in light. Be stronger, not strong in the eyes of the world, but strong in spirit, strong in patience, strong in love, strong in forgiveness, strong in hope, strong in faithfulness to God, because it is this silent strength that sustains the soul when everything around seems to crumble. In the face of this event, do not give in to despair, do not surrender to confusion, do not allow temptation to lead you astray from the path of light. Temptation always comes when the heart is weary, when faith weakens, when the soul feels alone. Therefore, remain vigilant, take care of your inner self, protect your faith as one protects a flame in the midst of a strong wind. My children, many will fall not for lack of faith in God, but for lack of constancy, for lack of firmness, for not sustaining their faith in difficult times. But you remain standing. Even if the world bends, even if structures crumble, even if paths become uncertain, remain steadfast. Do not allow hatred to mold you. Do not allow evil to transform you. Do not allow fear to govern you. Do not allow despair to lead you. Allow the light of God to guide you. Allow faith to be your foundation. Allow love to be your armor. I call you to inner strength. I call you to spiritual maturity. I call you to steadfastness of soul. I call you to trust in God, even when you do not understand events, even when you do not understand the signs, even when everything seems confusing. My children, remain faithful, remain whole, remain steadfast, remain in the light, because he who remains in God is not destroyed by the storms. He is strengthened by them. My beloved children, approach with open hearts, for I speak as a mother who knows the pains of her children, who sees the hidden struggles, who perceives the silent fears and the battles you wage in the depths of your souls. Before this revelation, I do not come to spread fear, but to awaken consciences, strengthen spirits, and lead you to the maturity of faith. Do not allow evil to find space in your hearts. The human heart was created to love, to trust, to hope, but when it turns away from God, it becomes fragile and vulnerable. Evil does not always present itself clearly. Often it comes disguised as indifference, pride, coldness, judgment, harsh words, thoughts that distance the soul from the light. Therefore, watch over your feelings, your thoughts, and your attitudes. My children, be stronger, not a force that shouts, that oppresses, or that dominates, but a force that sustains, that resists, and that remains. True strength is born from faith lived every day, even when there is no consolation, even when the path seems long, even when the silence seems heavy. It is in this silent perseverance that the spirit becomes firm. Faced with this approaching event that troubles many hearts, I tell you, do not let yourselves be carried away by panic, nor by the confusion that spreads in the world. Fear paralyzes, weakens, and distances the soul from trusting God. Faith, on the contrary, illuminates, strengthens, and guides. Choose faith even when everything around seems uncertain. Do not fall into temptation, my children. Temptation grows when the heart is empty, When the soul distances itself from the presence of God, when faith becomes only words and not life. Temptation promises quick relief, but leaves deep wounds. Therefore, be firm. Do not compromise your values. Do not abandon the truth for convenience. Do not trade inner peace for fleeting pleasures. I see many weary, wounded, and discouraged hearts. I see fragile families, divided homes, souls who no longer know who to trust. That is why I call you to inner strength. Strengthen your homes with the presence of God. Strengthen your families with love, patience, and forgiveness. Strengthen your faith with constancy, not only in good times, but especially in difficult times. My children, the world is going through times of confusion because many have strayed from the truth, because love has been replaced by selfishness, because faith has been set aside. But you were not called to live as the world lives. You were called to be light, to be a sign of hope, to be a silent witness that God continues to act. Do not be ashamed of your faith. Do not hide it. Do not treat it as something secondary. Faith is your shield, your anchor, your refuge. When everything else fails, it will remain. When human certainties crumble, she will sustain your steps. My children, remain united. Evil thrives when it divides, when it separates, when it sows distrust and hatred. Cultivate unity, listening, respect, and mercy. Where there is sincere love, evil does not prosper. Where there is living faith, darkness does not prevail. I ask you, take care of your spiritual life seriously, not as an obligation, but as a necessity of the soul. Just as the body needs food, the soul needs God so as not to weaken. Do not neglect this care, for your firmness in the times to come depends on it. Be strong, my children, strong to resist, strong to remain, strong to trust, strong to love even when it is difficult, strong to forgive even when it hurts, strong to wait even when everything seems to be delayed. I walk with you, I accompany you. I do not abandon those who trust in God and strive to remain in the light. Even in the darkest nights, even in the most confusing days, you are not alone. Keep these words in your heart. Let them take deep root in your soul. And when trials come, when tests of faith come, remember, whoever remains steadfast in God is not overcome by evil, is not destroyed by storms, is not defeated by tribulations. My beloved children, I speak to you as a mother who watches over you, who observes in silence, and who knows the pains and dangers that surround her children. Have faith. Do not allow fear to be greater than your trust in God. There are times when evil rises up with strength, seeking to confuse, weaken, and destroy that which is holy, just, and true. I warn you not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Yes, my children, it has been revealed that a terrible evil will rise up, not only against the world, but against hearts. It will not come only through visible violence, but through inner corruption, through the loss of faith, through the cooling of love, through indifference towards God. Many will not perceive its approach because they will be distracted, spiritually asleep, distant from divine grace. In light of this, I tell you with firmness and love, have faith. Faith will be your refuge when everything seems threatening. Faith will be your strength when many fall. Faith will be your protection when evil tries to reach your homes, your families, and your souls. It is not despair that will save you, but trust in God. Seek divine grace, my children. God's grace is not found in the noise of the world, nor in the false promises of human security. It is found in the humble heart, in the soul that turns to God with sincerity, in the spirit that recognizes its fragility and abandons itself to divine mercy. It is this grace that strengthens, sustains, and prevents evil from triumphing. Do not harden your hearts. Evil grows where there is pride, where there is hatred, where there is resentment, and where love is lacking. Guard your inner selves. Protect your thoughts. Take care of your choices. Every small decision can bring you closer to the light or open breaches to darkness. My children, many will ask, how can we resist such great evil? And I answer you, by remaining firm in God. Do not trust only in your own strength, for it is limited. Trust in divine grace, which acts silently, yet powerfully, in the lives of those who persevere. Strengthen your families. A home sustained by faith becomes difficult to shake. A heart surrendered to God becomes resistant to temptations. A soul that seeks divine grace does not succumb to despair, even in the face of the greatest trials. I ask you, do not live as if time were infinite. Today is the moment for conversion, for inner change, for a sincere return to God. Do not postpone faith. Do not postpone love. Do not postpone the decision to live according to God's will. Evil takes advantage of delay, negligence, and indifference. Have faith, my children. Even if evil rises up violently, it will not have the last word over those who trust in God. Divine grace is stronger than any darkness. The light of God is never overcome by darkness. I remain with you as a mother who protects, guides, and leads. But remember, it is necessary for each one to do their part, caring for their own soul, seeking divine grace and remaining faithful, even when the path becomes narrow and difficult. My beloved children, listen to me with attentive hearts and open souls, for I speak to you as a mother who loves, who cares, and who does not abandon. I know the anxieties that dwell within you. I see the fear that tries to infiltrate your thoughts, and I perceive the spiritual weariness that many carry in silence. In the face of what has been revealed, I do not call you to terror, but to firm, conscious, and persevering faith. Yes, my children, a terrible evil is rising, not only to wound the visible world, but to strike at what is most precious: the faith, hope, and love that God has placed in your hearts. This evil seeks not only to destroy bodies, but to confuse minds, harden hearts, and distance souls from divine grace. Evil thrives where there is division, where there is hatred, where there is indifference, and where God no longer occupies first place. That is why I tell you, with a mother's voice, have faith. Not a fragile faith which only relies on when everything is going well, but a mature faith which remains even when answers do not come, even when the paths seem dark, even when trials become heavy. True faith does not eliminate storms, but prevents them from destroying the soul. Seek God's divine grace, my children, because only it can sustain you in difficult times. Divine grace is not something distant or inaccessible. It is poured out upon those who approach God with humility, with sincere repentance, and with a true desire for inner change. Where grace dwells, evil does not take deep root. Take care of your hearts. Do not allow them to be filled with resentment, rebellion, or despair. Evil feeds on these inner shadows. When the heart closes itself to love, it becomes vulnerable. When the soul turns away from God, it weakens. But when the heart surrenders to divine grace, it is strengthened, even amidst the greatest trials. My children, many will live through times of confusion, where right will seem wrong and wrong will be presented as normal. Many will lose discernment because they have stopped listening to God's voice and only follow the voices of the world. Therefore, I ask you, remain vigilant. Do not accept everything that is presented to you. Keep the truth in your hearts. Be faithful to the teachings that lead to life and not to perdition. Do not allow fear to govern your decisions. Fear paralyzes, blinds, and weakens. Faith, on the contrary, illuminates, strengthens, and guides. Even when you do not understand events, trust. Even when everything seems to be out of control, surrender yourselves to God's grace. He never abandons those who trust in Him. Strengthen your homes, my children. A home sustained by faith becomes a refuge amidst chaos. A home where God is remembered becomes protection against evil. Do not neglect your families, for evil first tries to wound that which sustains love, unity, and hope. I see many of you tired, discouraged, wounded by accumulated disappointments and suffering. But I tell you, do not give up. Every pain offered to God is transformed into inner strength. Every tear entrusted to divine grace becomes a seed of hope. Nothing is in vain when lived with faith. My children, the time is serious. Do not postpone conversion. Do not postpone the decision to live in the light. Do not postpone the sincere return to God. Evil takes advantage of delay, negligence, and spiritual indifference. Today is the time to strengthen faith, to care for the soul, to seek divine grace with sincerity. Remain steadfast. Even if many turn away, remain. Even if you are few, remain. Even if you are misunderstood, remain. God sustains those who choose faithfulness, even when the path is narrow. I walk with you as a mother who protects, guides, and intercedes. I do not abandon you in the dark nights, nor in hours of trial. But remember, it is necessary to open your hearts. It is necessary to seek grace. It is necessary to remain in faith. Have faith, my children. Evil may rise up violently, but it will not triumph over those who remain in God. Divine grace is stronger than any darkness. The light of God will never be overcome. Keep these words in your hearts. Let them strengthen you, awaken you, and guide you. And when days become difficult, remember, whoever trusts in God is not destroyed by evil, but strengthened to face trials with hope, courage, and faithfulness. My beloved children, I speak to you as a mother who watches over each of you, who contemplates the sorrows of the world, and who knows the dangers that rise up against humanity. Listen attentively to my call, for it is born of maternal love and care. Pray the Holy Rosary, my children, not as an empty habit, but as a path of protection, of strengthening faith, and of union with God. The Rosary is a spiritual shield. When lived with a sincere heart, it becomes a fortress against the evil that tries to advance upon souls, families, and nations. In the face of natural disasters, wars, violence, and the chaos spreading throughout the world, the Rosary keeps you firm, centered on God, and protected by divine grace. Many do not understand the strength that exists in the perseverance of prayer lived with faith. Evil fears hearts that trust in God. It fears families united in faith. It fears souls that remain vigilant. Therefore, I ask you, do not abandon the Rosary, for it leads you to inner peace even when everything around you seems to crumble. Faced with this rising evil, do not let yourselves be dominated by fear. Fear weakens, paralyzes, and distances the soul from trust in God. Faith, on the contrary, strengthens, illuminates, and protects. Pray the Rosary so that your hearts may remain firm, so that your minds may not be confused, and so that your choices may be guided by divine light. Seek God's protection, my children. Do not trust only in human securities, for they are fragile and fleeting. True protection comes from above, born of sincere surrender, humility, and fidelity. When you seek God with an open heart, He envelopes you with His grace and does not allow evil to have dominion over you. Wars and disasters wound not only the earth, but also the human spirit. Many lose hope, many turn away from faith, many harden in suffering. Therefore, I call you to spiritual perseverance. Pray the Rosary to keep hope alive, to sustain faith, and to prevent pain from turning your hearts to stone. Take care of your homes. A home sustained by faith becomes a refuge amidst chaos. Where the Rosary is valued, discord loses strength, fear weakens, and peace finds space to remain. Even in difficulties, even in losses, faith lived with constancy keeps the soul standing. My children, do not neglect the spiritual life. Evil takes advantage of distraction, indifference, and separation from God. The Rosary keeps you vigilant, attentive, and united to the divine will. He does not eliminate trials, but prepares you to face them with confidence and serenity. Have faith. Even in the face of disasters, wars, and approaching threats, God remains sovereign. Nothing escapes His gaze. Nothing is greater than His mercy. Those who trust in Him do not walk alone, even when the path becomes difficult. I walk with you as a mother who protects, guides, and intercedes. But it is necessary that each one welcomes this call into their heart. Pray the Holy Rosary. Seek God's protection. Strengthen your faith. Remain steadfast. The Rosary is not just repeated words. It is a path that leads the heart to God. When you pray with faith, you place your lives, your families, and your homes under divine protection. In the midst of the evil that arises, the frightening natural disasters, the wars that wound entire peoples, The rosary becomes an invisible shield that sustains the soul and calms the spirit. Many ask how to protect themselves in such uncertain times. I answer you, my children, turn to God with confidence. Seek His protection with sincerity. The world offers false securities, empty promises, and solutions that do not reach the heart. But the protection that comes from God is profound, silent, and true. It guards the interior, strengthens faith, and prevents evil from finding space to destroy. In the face of advancing violence, wars, and calamities, do not allow fear to dominate your thoughts. Fear weakens faith and confuses the soul. Faith, on the contrary, brings clarity, firmness, and hope. When you pray the rosary, you learn to trust, you learn to wait, and you learn to surrender to God that which you cannot control. My children, evil takes advantage of spiritual distraction. It grows where prayer is abandoned, where faith becomes weak, where God is left aside. Therefore, I call you to perseverance. Do not neglect the spiritual life. Do not treat faith as something secondary. In times of crisis, it is faith that sustains humanity. Natural disasters and wars do not only affect the land and cities. They deeply wound the human heart. Many lose hope, many rebel, many turn away from God because they do not understand suffering. But I tell you, seek God's protection precisely in these moments. He does not abandon His children. He welcomes those who trust and strengthens those who remain faithful. Pray the rosary so that your homes may be places of peace amidst the chaos. Pray that your families may be protected from discord, hatred, and division. Pray that your hearts may not harden in the face of the world's pain. Where there is sincere prayer, light finds space to remain.